Alright, some Benny music going here.
Presenting Benny Goodman and his music.
There. Hey, everybody. Evening, Chris. So often the first. Even Martin. Hey, Kathleen, Octavio, and Marcia. Hey, everybody.
An even more torrid band who purveys assorted rhythms, all danceable, in the urban room of the Congress Hotel in Chicago. And first of all, one of Irving Berlin's greatest hits, Blue Skies.
Hey, Leah, Emily, Luann, Donna, Cindy. Hey, Jeannie. Oh, I'm gonna get my jacket on. Look proper. Hey, Laura.
You may get it down from there.
I can get my own.
Good.
They gotta walk off here then.
I am.
All right. Always try to look proper in these things, you know. Normally I do. Hey, Katie. Hey, Maria. Hey, Karen. Hey, Megan. I'm having some Eagle something or other bourbon. What's it called?
Eagle Rare.
Eagle Rare.
And you know, whatever it is.
Yep.
And it does feature.
Okay, well, it would be very weird if it did not feature an eagle.
No.
Hey, Kathleen. Hey, Scott. Evening, everybody. Hey, Carol. I'm at my parents' place tonight. Yes, Megan, I'm sharing. Let me just pour some onto the keyboard. I'll hit send. Hey, Donna in Texas. Hey, Lisa, Pat. Hey, Kathy in Arkansas. Hey, Heather. Hello, Ronald. Hey, Beth. Hey, Crit. Well, naturally, I didn't bring Miles with me down to South Georgia. But, well, here's a clip of him. Chasing his tail.
I'm gonna drag out one of our cats.
You can try. The cats here, Rufus and Huckleberry, are afraid of me, so I haven't seen too much of them. Hey, Lori. Happy New Year. Yep. Our first virtual tour of 2025. It's one that I didn't do at all, I don't think, in 2024.
Benny Goodman presents Helen Ward singing With All My Heart.
And it's the 25th anniversary of the Chicago River reversal. Hey, Florecita. Evening, everybody. Hey, Chuck, what are you looking for? Oh, yeah.
Maybe under the bed somewhere.
Hey, Amy. Hey, Karen. Yeah, they're around. Dad's been over here mixing up the drinks. Say I love you dearly. Does Dr. Jekyll have a dark hide? Yeah, it's past. Hey, David. Hey, Donna. Hey, Heather. Hey, Heidi. Yeah. Sorry, the cats here are not coming out. I've just been given a statement from backstage.
I had to get a flashlight and reach in and I could go in.
Yeah. So here's your cat moment. Do it again.
Oh, that's nice, actually.
Yeah. He really likes chasing his tail. What's up, Patrick, over on YouTube? All ever careful. Today, presently, I am in South Georgia at my parents' house. Coastal Georgia, I'm told. Hey, Susan. Yep, on the road a bit.
Benny Goodman goes way back and gets a lot of rhythm out of Walk, Jenny Walk.
Happy New Year, Mary.
And his orchestra.
You were snapping for me, you couldn't get you something.
I don't snap at people to make them come give me things.
Trying to get my attention. Sorry.
Never. Jeez. Like some douchebag at a restaurant or something. Hey, Chief. Yo, big man. Cheers, yeah.
Cheers to you.
Hey. Hey, what is that?
Cheers,
Dad?
everyone. Homemade limoncello
Yeah, show off.
with our own lemons.
Here's my cheers.
Cheers.
This is Takara.
Yeah. It's Takara, our ex-boss from Mattel. Takara of Naperville, a friend of ours. Passed away this past week. Well, hey, Jeannie. Yeah, everybody's just actually waving, they say. Everybody's actually waving. Everybody throw your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care. But
Jazz hands.
no,
That's the way to go.
the English major version is project your hands in the direction of the ceiling, vacillate about as though devoid of all feeling.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I've used that off and
You want
on.
Grandma?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Patrick found Buffalo Trace in Melrose Park. Good job. I found it at an airport in Dublin, but it was a lot easier to find than the UK. But I got some of the duty free.
Mom's having a ginger shrub peppercorn old fashioned.
That's a lot of ingredients for an old fashioned, Dad. Ginger shrub peppercorn. Okay. Peppercorn shrub. Oh, I'm terribly sorry to have messed this up.
Ginger peppercorn.
Oh, okay.
It's a shrub.
Okay.
They sell them.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna let Benny Goodman go through one more tune.
And they all loved it. They all loved those bastards when they played by Benny Goodman. And now another artist in the same
All right.
Rosanna.
Well, everybody will have to speak up because her hearing aid is turned down. But here's Grandma Belle in person, making a
Live
very
in
rare
person.
appearance on the tours.
Hey,
We should put this up
everyone.
on the larger
There you
screen.
go.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah,
No.
she's met Diane Ellis, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Out of the mysterious.
Yeah, but everybody, such a regular from the chat, but so rarely in person. Grandma Bell, everybody. There you go.
Aw, that's very nice. We just did a little cheers.
Good
Yep.
to hear from all of you.
We even got some Christmas cards from Mysterious.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want a cocktail?
All right, we're letting Benny Goodman finish up this tune,
Thank you for the Christmas cards.
and then we'll get started properly. All right. All right, Benny Goodman's going to finish up this song in a second. Hey, Chris. Hello, Teresa. Coming at you from coastal Georgia today to talk about Chicago. Well, meanwhile, I've been putting together stuff for I've been trying. Yeah, those are obnoxious in the background. Yeah. But they're. Hey, Janice in Iowa. Gene will be doing about a regular length tour tonight. All right, that is Benny Goodman wrapping it up, which means it is me to get started now. Time for me to get started. It's time. So welcome along, everybody. Coming to you from coastal Georgia tonight. I'm Adam Seltzer from Mysterious Chicago Tours, authors of such volumes as Mysterious Chicago, the book, Ghosts of Chicago, now in a 10th anniversary edition, Flickering Empire, how Chicago invented the U.S. film industry. That's about due for a 10th anniversary edition coming up in a couple of years here, too. Just Kill Me, they will not be putting out a 10th anniversary edition of that one. All right, welcome along. I'm Adam from Mysterious Chicago. Around here these days, we tend to do just virtual tours of Chicago every Thursday night. We started about 5 years ago. We're coming up on a 5-year anniversary of doing these. And I hope to put together some new presentations in the new year, but hope there's no actual need for them like we had 5 years ago. But we'll quickly, just to make sure he fulfills his contract, here's Miles chasing his tail. He did not travel with me down here, and the cats in this house are kind of fraidy cats. But today we are going to be talking about some stuff in Uptown, the neighborhood up in Chicago, up north of the Loop, a little bit east of Graceland Cemetery, by some accounts, including Graceland Cemetery, who is definitely part of the Uptown Chamber of Commerce. So let's go ahead and get started with a place about 2 blocks away from Graceland that has quite a pedigree behind it. This very cool, like a Tudor style over a Queen Anne frame that was designed by William LeBaron Jenney back in 1891. William LeBaron Jenney designed the first modern skyscraper, the home insurance building, which is made out of a steel frame construction, the first building to do that by most metrics, the first modern skyscraper. Also designed things like the Lion Bench over at Graceland Cemetery nearby. But this is a house that he built back in 1891. Now, in the 1940s, it was owned by a guy by the name of Norman Nevinger, who used it as the office for his travel company. He was operating some kind of resort up in Michigan. And just look at this ad for it. Why be fussy? We offer less than any other resort in Michigan. Send us the people you hate. We'll make them miserable. We have leaky boats. I gotta move these things up. make this bigger for myself, my old eyes. We have leaky boats, balky riding horses, a stony beach, the water is always cold. Lousy meals, we won't hire a good cook. The cherries used in our famous cherry pies are guaranteed to become the biggest worms in the state. We're located 17 miles north of Traverse City, near the end of a peninsula. It's absolutely boring. Mosquitoes the size of P-80 stage a blitz every night at 10. A terrible time is assured. For a nauseating vacation like this, you must pay $49 per week. Revolting, isn't it? This is a very interesting ad campaign. It's kind of like when you see a sign out saying, come try the worst meatball sandwich a guy on Yelp has ever had. But it got people's attention, and that was operating out of this 4052 North Kenmore, like you see right there. Here's Norman Nevinger himself back when he was just a lifeguard back in the day. Weirdly, you could even find pictures of some of these guys. There's a guy I've been looking at to find a picture of who's involved in the Frank Lloyd Wright story. I can't do it. I found one of his son, which is close enough. It's better jokes anyway. This was a place called the Old Mission Inn up in outside of Traverse City, Michigan. 17 miles outside is really quite a long ways outside if you get right down to it. Move this back slightly for me. All right. Then the place went on sale in 1994 and was described as sexy. Now this is, in fact, a very sexy house. Just take a look at this thing. Well, the rather phallic part going up and down right here anyway. 4052 Kenmore. Awesome mini mansion, restored elegance for style-conscious buyer. $259,000. Which is was probably a very good deal even back in 1994, really. But by now, I would say this house would probably cost 4 times that much. That'd be my guess. But on the inside, there have been recent enough real estate listings. You can see a bit of the inside with these good exposed beams. See, there's a lot in older places. One like this, too. But does anybody advertise the worst resort in northern Michigan out of the place anymore? Shame. But let's just move across the street and start talking about some bloody guts and crime. Once again, thanks to those of you still hitting those donate buttons down there. So there we are with 4057, or 4047. This one's a little bit weirder. There was a guy by the name of Michael Stopek living here, or had apartments here. Where he was living is anybody's guess. But there was a guy named Michael Stopek who was murdered here in 1927. The neighbors heard a shot coming out of this building and saw a woman running away. When they came inside, breakfast had been set for 3 people, but Michael Stopek was kneeling in front of the couch with a bullet in his heart. Now, he didn't really live in this place. He lived someplace down in the Gold Coast, but there were 2 other women who were found around there, one of whom was by the name of Billy Murphy. Now, this is Lillian, it's Billy Murphy. Yeah, Gertrude Billy Murphy was found living at his place down there. I love this picture. This is one of my favorite pictures in all of the Chicago archives. She just looks like Cruella de Vil. Look at this. I mean, the coat is awesome, but it's the look on her face and the hairstyle that does it. Yeah, I love this. So, anyway, Michael had at least 5 girlfriends that the police eventually found out about. They got most of their info. Captain John W. Norton, who had been on the murder castle investigation almost over 30 years before, found a couple of women named Lillian and Babe who had been associated with Michael in some capacity or another. Found out that Michael had gotten a message to go to the house on Kenmore. He drove along with them as far as Graceland Cemetery a block away, then let them off and walked the rest of the way there alone. So apparently it turned out there was a fight between him and one guy by the name of Henry Gardino over the affections of Billy Murphy. Or anyway, that's what she told them. She said this was all a fight. These 2 men just couldn't stand fighting over me and couldn't stand the thought of me being with anyone else. It's like, yeah, it's very flattering to yourself. In any case, it turned out there were so many people with a motive here that nobody really ended up being charged. They couldn't prove it was Henry Gardino. Too many other people had designs on the guy. He might have been doing some little bootlegging on the side. But also, one of the reasons that he was caught is that Babe, who was seen here on the right, was also dating a detective named Francis Sullivan, who would go to speakeasies with her dressed up very well, because having a well-dressed woman with you made it look less suspicious. You looked less like a narc if you were coming into a speakeasy with a well-dressed woman. But then he started doing things like arranging for bootleggers to be arrested, then looting their apartments while they were out of town. One time he looted $900 worth of clothes, $900 in 1920s money for Babe, and then somebody was on court and suddenly shouted, "She's got my dress. I bet she's wearing my underwear too." Ew. She was. Just around the block from there on Hutchinson, we'll just check out a couple of these fantastic houses. A lot of George Washington Maher designed houses here. Little subset of Buena Park, the Hutchinson Historic District. Somebody told me a while ago that Dr. Henry Breasted lived in the Hutchinson Historic District. And it turned out, no, he was friends with Charles Hutchinson. But I finally asked him, where did you hear that he lived there? They got it from AI. AI can drum up some good information, but there's nothing that has ever trained AI to look for accurate information. Hey, those of you just joining us, Lynn, Georgia, Roy, tardy people. Yeah, and I love this one. It's hard to imagine this is also a George Washington Maher did that Prairie School one at the beginning of this. He also did this like Gummy Bears house with the Tudor style and the exposed brick, the Henry Hobson Richardson inspired brick. But in that shape that would have caused George Frederick Root to say they keep jumping out at you. I'm going to move over a little bit onto Sheridan. Now, this is one of these courtyard apartments built over a site where there once lived a donkey that drove all of the neighbors crazy. There's an actual picture of the donkey. Don't think I'm going to be throwing in some fake donkey with you or anything, or like putting in just a picture of a donkey. I wouldn't be above that, but no, this is the actual donkey that was absolutely driving people crazy around here. There is a rooster in this neighborhood that has a similar effect. But this, as of 1930, was the home of a guy by the name of Jack Costa, who was a bodyguard for the gangster Joe Aiello. He lived in apartment 4048 in here. So, September 13th, 1930, he stepped outside. People in a third-floor place across the courtyard opened fire with machine guns. So here's Jake Costa himself. Now, the only suspect that they really had was his girlfriend, Margaret Reardon, who was questioned about all of this, but they couldn't really find anything on her. Her lipstick was found on a cigarette butt in the apartment across the way that had opened fire, but after a couple of weeks, they didn't find any more evidence than that. There was nothing proving it was her lipstick. It was just her shade, and without anything to go on, that wasn't really enough. She was let go. Nobody ever really got in trouble for killing Jack Costa. But this being a gangland murder, these things were usually dealt with internally. The Chicago police were absolutely terrible at prosecuting gangsters, possibly because so many of them were on the gangsters' payroll. The gangsters did take revenge. They just got it on themselves. Move over a little bit here. Just a quick look at the Uptown Theater, then across the way, the Green Mill. Subject of any number of urban legends around Chicago, in any case. They'll tell you up and down in this place that Al Capone hung out in here. It almost certainly did not. Robert Lorsel just did a very long, deep dive on this that you can get. You can check out his Patreon. Most famously, there was a singer named Joe Louis who was slashed in the throat, said to have been put up by gangsters, usually said to have happened here. Really, it was happening kind of nearby here. He was performing here, but he was staying in a hotel. They came, and he thought the whole thing was over a woman. But he himself had gotten in some trouble every now and then as well. And really, after he was slashed in the throat, he started using it for publicity almost immediately. Was back at the Green Mill in 1929. And the story of him being a whole big gang thing was originally told in this book, The Joker is Wild, the story of Joe E. Louis, a 1950s autobiography. Now, I gotta tell you, 1950s biographies are approximately the least reliable source you will ever find. The stuff in here that was verifiable by simple fact checks doesn't hold up one little bit. In like a reporter's memoir or a biography from the 1950s, you half expect them to say, well, Calvin Coolidge didn't really exist. We just made him up because we were tired of writing about Warren G. Harding or something. But even as far back as the 1920s, it was rumored that Jack McGurn had some sort of a stake in this place, Machine Gun Jack McGurn. That's generally said to have been a myth, but it's he was been linked with it as early as like 1925 in the press. And just over next to this is the Uptown Theater. Some great bootlegs of the Grateful Dead playing at this place. It's been shuttered for a long time. It is one of those places about every 6 months there's a rumor about something new being built in there. Besides being a concert venue, it was also a TV venue for a while. In the 50s, they hosted the show Queen for a Day here, in which women would trauma dump on people for fun and prizes. Oh, we're talking about venues. So what I want to talk about just quickly up here, up on Granville and Kenmore, a little further up on Kenmore, is what is presently a vacant laundromat, but what was once upon a time the offbeat room where Ken Nordine, the commercial guy who had a voice like this and did word jazz, would read people short suspense stories. And this was a listening room. If you were talking, you had to leave. Bob Gibson, the folk singer, was their star folk singer. That we found him for Find a Grave Friday one time over at Rose Hill. Now, I thought that I had more film footage of this. It turned out that what I had was a TikTok that I did about a year ago. I'll just play the TikTok and rest my voice a bit. The great word jazz artist Ken Nordine opened the Offbeat Room right in here at Granville and Kenmore and Edgewater in Chicago in 1955. Here he had a policy that audiences had to pay attention to performers or leave. Folk singer Bob Gibson put on a 12-hour folkathon. Albert Grossman was so impressed that he got into the folk music business. He formed Peter, Paul, and Mary and managed Bob Dylan, and the rest, as they say, is history. And by the way, how are things in your town? And by the way, how are things in your town? I would love to use that as a Mysterian clubhouse. I mean, that's a room with a lot of history in it, just a lot of history. You can trace so much of popular music, really, just back to this room. Let's back up a little ways. Let's back up. We're going to check out briefly the Clifton Art Corridor a little bit further down on Broadway. First of all, I love this Wile E. Coyote mural. One of the coyote pictures I'll be putting up on the Patreon soon. It's like the coyote is caught mid-run, mid-air. It needs like a Latin name underneath it. Try to call out the names of these as we come to them. If You Only Knew by Stephen Teller. As How Will You Rise by Jenny Vyas. For the Bears Fans by Liz Flores. Matter of Time by Mosher, or Mosher. Busy Bots by Kyle the Creator. Reflection by Daniel Wilson. Both of those two are by Daniel Wilson. Koi by Jeremy Novi. Such a great optical illusion right there. Bison by Rodney Duran. I feel like we have like applause here like I'm announcing the nominees. Angels on the Ground by Jazzon. Inhale, Exhale by David Heo. Something on the Back of an Irish Pub. This is an Anthony Llewellyn, The Garden Hope. The Flying Condom. Yeah, tell me it isn't. How to redo this one now? There's a lot of new stuff by now. Still a couple more down here. This was such a disused alley, so they just made it into an art gallery. At one point, it was known as a crime alley. S&A by Chaplin by Michelle Leiter. Ode to the Messenger by Brett Whitaker. Love the colors there. They would make a great sandal. Maybe I'm drinking too much. S&A by Michelle Little. S&A Studios, of course, was right near here. In fact, well, we're talking about S&A Studios. But first of all, let's check out All Together Now by Molly Z. All together now. But speaking of S&A, it's just around the bend on Argyle, really. Oh, heck, I've got to push the wrong... I forgot to turn these particular videos off. All right, so we're going to start out all over again. There we are. Not the whole tour, just that one video clip. But hello, everybody. So this is S&A Studios, S as in sport, nay as in Anderson, S&A. Bronco Billy Anderson and George Spoor started S&A Studios, became the biggest silent film producers in Chicago, one of the biggest in the world, during that brief period when Chicago was the place to go to make movies. It was far enough west to be out of Thomas Edison's radar. It's kind of similar, like bootleg records used to have a thing where it would always say like made in Italy. So there were looser copyright laws in Italy. And, you know, you didn't have to actually make something in Italy to say it was made in Italy. You just had to put that on the label someplace. Sometimes it worked. But this is now St. Augustine College. Or just Augustine College? In any case, it's where S&A Studios was. Over on the other side of there is St. Boniface Cemetery, where they, according to Luella Parsons, they would steal flowers for props. And for about 3 weeks, they had Charlie Chaplin working here. There's one place where Charlie Chaplin actually did hang out. They'll tell you he hung out in just about every place in Chicago. People have emailed me saying, my building used this as a selling point to get me to buy a condo here that Charlie Chaplin lived here. Like, yeah, I'd ask for a primary source. Chaplin only lived here for a few weeks. It's not that well documented. So some of what he did, but this is what the inside of the place looks like with the infinity wall there. And a mural of a Chaplin movie filmed long after he was here with little Jackie Coogan, Uncle Fester, hanging on to him, and Charlie Chaplin's the kid. And just around the bend from here, back on Broadway, is this old Schlitz Tide House. It was a pub where you could only get a Schlitz. And they still got the logo up there. But this is said to be one of the places where a lot of the silent film people came to hang out. Now, what most people remembered about Chaplin, who worked there in the 3 weeks, is that he didn't pay for anything. He liked gamble until he won a free meal from everybody. One can imagine him rolling the dice in this place, where they don't really specifically mention that it would have been here. Let's go up the road a little ways. Speaking of early films, right here by Emerald Towers, I love this. It's just like, Emerald City. We'll spin towards it. Because this was the longtime home at Emerald Towers of... Seem to be missing a beat there. We seem to be missing... Romola Remus lived here. She was the first person to play Dorothy in a Wizard of Oz movie. And I seem to have lost the picture of it there. But in very, very early on, in the early days of film studios, L. Frank Baum, who wrote Wizard of Oz, went to Sealy Polyscope Studios and had them do a version of the Wizard of Oz that was going to be colorized. It was colored apparently by a guy named Michael Radio, or at least that's what Baum used to say. And it was a movie that he would interact with live on stage, way ahead of its time. It no longer survives. But Romola Remus, who lived here, was the first Dorothy. Her father, George Remus, was eventually a big bootlicker. Before that, he was a big criminal lawyer. This is him in the 1910s while Romola's film career was going on, with Louisa Lindloff, the crystal ball killer. Here's a shot. Romola, newspapers discovered Romola in the 1970s and 1980s. They started having her at a lot of Oz fests. I actually spoke to the Wizard of Oz Club one time about Romola, and then realized that they asked me to come talk about the L. Frank Baum movie, so I did. But they'd actually had her as a guest many years back, and enough people are still around who really remembered that too. So it was kind of like upstaged by a previous guest. Just down the block from her is the McCready Funeral Home. Such a cool building. It still has the M insignia down below the window up there. And I think they've added they've refurbished this a little bit so the M's a little more visible. Right now you can just kind of see it up there. But this is an old funeral home. It's now a lawyer's office. It used to be a funeral home. You can make of that what you will. But among the more notable funerals here was that of John Dillinger, the bank robber. But it was actually at the morgue, not right here, that this picture was taken of his arm bent forward due to rigor mortis, but inspiring this legend, what I call the legend of Dillinger's Dingaling. It does look like he's awfully happy to be there on the slab. But it was either there or here at McCready Funeral Home that someone stole his brain. With this fantastic headline, John Dillinger's brain now resting in pieces, just one thing is sure, outlaws still dead. That is by Kay Hall over on the Patreon, linked down below. We covered Kay Hall quite a bit for a while. She was a crime writer for the Chicago Daily Times in the 1930s. Wrote a lot of really interesting articles, not just about crime stuff. For a while, she went undercover as a cab driver to see what it was like to be the only woman cab driver in Chicago. Somebody tipped her with an orange. Also, her husband wrote a letter to the editor about a place that he had gone in like Minneapolis that was called Mickey's Dunkin' Hour. It was a donut place that encouraged you to dunk your donuts in your coffee. And he wrote and said, "This is such a great idea. There should be one of these in every city." And the newspaper's like, "Yeah, Dunkin' Donuts. If you got any other winners for us, don't call us. We'll call you." Let's go up the road a little bit. The Renaissance. At 5510, home of a guy named Harry Tagg who managed the Bryn Mawr Theater down the block. One day he was at his home here in the Renaissance in 1935, got a call threatening to bump him off if he ratted out a guy who had robbed him. And as soon as he got the call, a group of men were walking up the road on the sidewalks. We started to panic, but it turned out this group of people were walking over to tell him that his theater had been shot up as a warning. Now, the alleged shooter was a guy by the name of Bruno Austin, who was eventually arrested coming out of his own wedding. He had been involved in things like kidnappings with the Barker Karpus gang. He was arrested leaving the wedding, beat the charge in court, but 6 months later was sentenced to life for murder in a grocery store back in 1947. Back in the before the 30s. So in 1947, another guy named Sammy DeRosa admitted that he'd been the one who'd done the shooting in question. So at long last, Bruno here was free to go. In jail, he had been saying that his wife was planning to wait for him, but once he got out of jail, he said he was studying for the priesthood by then. So apparently the marriage did not work out. Move on down the road. So this is one of those places where a building used to be. Back in 1924 here on Carmen Avenue, there were some apartments, and they were the home of a guy by the name of Duffy, who had been brought in by the Dino Banyan gang to be their assassin. Now, for a while, in the time of Dean O'Banion, killings weren't really done very much among Chicago gangsters. They had a deal, like, you take yours, we'll take ours, there's no need to fight. It didn't last for too long, but it lasted a little while. Wait, Mickey's bunking hour is still in St. Paul? I'll be there in a couple of weeks. I gotta check that out. But he bragged and bragged to Dean O'Banion that when you need somebody killed, I'm going to be the guy. But February 24th, he'd been talking a lot, but hadn't actually shot anybody. And he ended up being one of the first people to be taken for a ride. He was picked up outside of the Four Deuces of Kyle Capone's place, then driven around and was eventually found dead. They went around and talked to absolutely everybody about this, every gangster being a suspect, including Al Brown, the manager of the 22-22. This, of course, was Al Capone, but he had been under the wing of Torrio, worked with O'Banion, Miller, anyone else who could show them a way to ill-gotten gains. Said to have been among those present when Duffy started on the journey of death. He probably was not, but Duffy they had arranged to pick Duffy up outside of Capone's place, the Four Deuces. Probably just to make Capone look bad in the end. But inside of the apartment, when they searched that, they also found that his girlfriend was dead. So exactly what had gone on here, they could never really figure out. One theory was that he had gotten in a fight with his girlfriend, and she said something like, "You wouldn't shoot me. I dare you to shoot me." Now, normally, Duffy was never actually following up on plans to kill people, but in this case, apparently he did. Then the one story went that he shot his girlfriend, called Dean in a panic, saying, "We've got to fix this." Dean said, "Don't worry about it." Had been looking to get rid of this guy anyway, so at that point saw an opportunity. But later on, it was said that one of the bootleggers, who was also a cop, was the one who actually did the shooting. But officially, this one was never really solved. Move around here a bit. Just up the road is one of Chicago's only Bruce Goff houses. This house over here was originally a recording studio. And, well, originally it was just a little, very typical Victorian house, but when I went to photograph it, it was under reconstruction. But this was one that was redesigned completely by Bruce Goff. Drove the neighbors crazy because that's metal and it reflected. Bruce Goff is one of my favorite architects. He operated all over the country. There's about to be a big retrospective of his work at the Chicago Art Institute that I can't wait to see. He built houses like this when other people were building plain black boxes. I don't know how these places were to live in, but let's move over to Bryn Mawr. The Bryn Mawr Historic District is a part of Uptown. This is the Bell Shore Apartments. Presently still apartments, but also some retail in there. Including there was a Starbucks, but they unionized, so Starbucks closed them down. There are these fantastic frescoes on the buildings there, plus the Y down below, the municipal device of Chicago, representing the two branches of the river. And just down the block from that, I absolutely love these ones. The Manor House, designed by J.E.O. Pridmore, who is best known for theaters. These places were largely vacant until the 1970s and 80s. They had been, big when they were first built in 1908. By the second half of the 20th century, they fell on hard times, were mostly vacant, but got on the National Register of Historic Places in 1987, then restored in the 1990s. It's always been a rumor that it was used as the British consulate for a while. There's no truth to that. There might have been some British official who lived here for a bit. Presently, there are 16 condos in the building. They were built to be luxury apartments, including a thing called an orangery, which is a very fancy way of saying a sunroom. But there's a fantastic, you can get the entire layout of what the place would have been like at the time. Presently, there are 16 condos in there with, they run about 400 to 600,000 as of 2019 prices. And they look really cool on the inside here, too. That's an actual vintage pixelated Abraham Lincoln from when it first opened in 1908. It's way ahead of its time at the time. One more to cover. Oh, this is a little out of whack. The big pink building. One could go on and on about this place. The Edgewater Beach Apartments by Benjamin Marshall, the architect who used to give people dissolving bathing suits as a joke. Probably the least of what he did. These are architects. They were crazy. But it is the only thing remaining on the complex of the old Edgewater Beach Hotel, which was a hugely popular place, not just as a hotel, but a place to come out, hang out, see a band, have a sandwich, have a drink when that was legal, probably illegally as well. It was like a world within a world in there. Now, recently there was a series of articles that came out interviewing people who worked there. I mean, they tore the place down in the 1970s. The employees who were still around in the 1990s had all reminisced about it with one particular author. And the weird thing is they all remembered all the wild security that went on when Gandhi came. Gandhi was never there. We don't know who they might have been trying to misremembering as Gandhi to this day. But all right, everybody. So coming to you from very allergic Georgia. This is definitely impacting my voice down here. But welcome. Thanks a lot for coming, everybody. I'm Adam from Mysterious Chicago Tours, coming to you this week from South Coastal Georgia. And we will put the Benny Goodman back on and hang out a bit like we always do. So thanks for joining me once again, everybody. All right.
Being presented from the Joseph Urban Room of the Congress Hotel in downtown Chicago. And now Benny Goodman's arrangement of The Bugle Call Rang.
All right, everybody. Thank you. Good night, Heather. Okay, I was thinking I didn't need the acid reflux medicine, and I probably do. Yep. I don't need a prescription one. Tums will do too. Thank you, Megan. Thanks, Dory. Thanks, Joanne. Joanne, it was just kind of falling apart, really. Octavio, I think by the time the Playboy Mansion was in, well, you couldn't just go to the Playboy Mansion. Edgewater Beach Hotel, anybody could show up. Thank you, Steve. You guys come on around. Come say hi. Yeah. Yeah, come on back. Yes, I am planning to do Find a Grave Friday tomorrow. Yeah, you can't show me the map.
No, but we have to know where we're going.
Hey, everybody.
There, I'll squish down here.
Yep.
Hey, kids. How's everybody? We're having fun having Adam here, but
Yep.
the kitties will not have anything
No,
to do with him.
the cats here don't like it.
They've been under our bed for almost 2 days now, which is not fun. They're saying I can't read that from here.
Oh, everybody says hi.
Oh, he saw an arm. Somebody saw an arm waving.
Yeah.
That was Rich.
There's Dad back there. Yep.
He finally came in from the outside because it is cold here, people. It's cold. Maybe it's not Chicago cold,
No.
but it's cold.
We thought about having me broadcast out there, but there wasn't like a high enough table that I could use. Nothing I wouldn't be looking down on like I won't
Can't
do
be
that.
showing the double chin.
I won't do that, yeah.
So I have to go to Chicago for a funeral next weekend, and I'm going to really freeze my little butt off.
Mm-hmm.
I have to get out my winter coat, which I don't think I've worn for a couple
It's colder
of
than
years.
it gets down here.
And it's not attractive, so that's not good.
Rhythm in the fate of a wooden Indian. That was the bugle call rag, Benny Goodman's own arrangement. Now, the popular
Sipping
tune,
from my
Thanks to
body
Indian.
glass. Come over and talk.
I won't keep running too long.
Huh?
I won't keep running too long. Get this thing back on over a little.
Did you tell him we went to the Dylan movie?
Oh yeah, we went to a complete unknown today. This is my third time seeing it.
Collars.
But I have not gotten tired of that.
It was good though.
It was good. I thought the Joan Baez character was really well.
She got Joan's voice down.
I
Not her
thought-
singing voice, but her speaking voice, the way she talks was just perfect.
She
Yeah, I
was
didn't
better
think
looking
it
than
sounded
Joan
like
Baez.
I didn't think it sounded like her singing either, but maybe I don't remember. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hi, Diane.
Mhm. Hey everybody.
Oh, look, I can see everybody on there.
Yeah.
Hi, Diane. I see you said hi, Rick.
Mhm.
Hi, Janice. Hi, Kathleen. Hi, Vicky.
Okay, Rich. You're not Adam. These are Adam's people.
Mhm. Yeah, you gotta do my
What's the
job.
521?
We're all tired. We ate a
5:21
big,
thing.
hearty
Going
dinner,
down the middle.
and now we have drinks and so on.
That's. See, I've always got these like lines around whatever thing is highlighted at the time.
Looks like we're gonna be shot.
Yeah, well,
Keep my head down.
see if there's anything I can highlight here that would be. There you go.
We will try very, very hard to get to Mysteriocon next year.
We're changing our travel plan a little bit, so hopefully it'll work out better.
We'll see.
Emily, I enjoyed Philosophy of Modern Song. It's a very silly book. You just have to realize it's just random writing prompts, really. It's more of a state of mind than any actual look into the philosophy of modern song.
Tell them what we're reading now. Adam.
Oh yeah, Mom and I are both reading the Cher autobiography right now. I've been enjoying that tremendously.
I'm listening to it, so it's taking me longer because I really only listen at bedtime, and then I
Okay.
fall asleep and I have to back it up. But I recommend it because Cher reads part of it, but the rest of it is Stephanie J. Block reading, who I love, but she is not a book narrator. Not good at it at all. So now I kind of wish I had actually the hard book, but I'll probably buy it eventually.
I watch my Alaska shows.
On repeat.
Many repeats, yes.
Yeah, I think Saturday maybe we should show the Sonny and Cher albums.
Oh yeah, maybe.
That'd be
Yeah.
an easy morning mini tour.
Yeah,
on
I've been
Saturday.
going through Mom's Sonny and Cher scrapbook. You wonder where I got the fandom jeans from.
I didn't realize it honestly until we got those out. I hadn't looked at them in probably 25 years. Yeah, I was a little bit crazy.
No one does. Yeah,
It was harmless.
no harm in Sonny and Cher.
No.
That's kind of the point.
That's why I liked them.
And then I came along.
Well,
And,
and
you
yes,
know,
and you comforted me through the divorce. It's true.
I'm nice that way.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn that book back on tonight. I don't think I'll make it very far, but I'll try.
I'm just about finished with it.
Are you really?
Yeah, but it only goes up to like the end of the 70s, so it's volume 1.
I hope she gets volume 2 done.
You pay to see Sarah and Scrap Push? Well, go grab one. We got the donate buttons up right now. So,
What?
yeah.
Where am I getting a light and heat from?
What?
Is that from that light timer?
Yes, from there. Oh, yep.
Yeah.
That's from the lab. See, it's probably turned off several people's table lamps there. But,
I don't know if you can show this or not.
oh, yeah, we can show this. This is Mom with all her Cher stuff.
Sonny and Cher.
All of her Sonny and Cher
When I
stuff.
was about 14.
In 1972, 73.
in my mod bedroom.
Yeah, and this is one of her many Sonny and Cher scrapbooks, which at the front here is their autograph obtained outside the Hotel Fort Des Moines,
Yep.
and the pen that they used.
They touched it, people. They touched it.
Like, if I took this into the understudy, you know, people would go,
They would?
Andersonville? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But,
But they can't have it. It's
yeah,
mine.
this is pages and 5 of these.
Well, there's a story behind it.
Oh, I'm sure.
We'll
Yeah.
save it for the morning meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, look, here's pictures of them getting off the airplane in Des Moines.
No, I don't think that was in. We didn't see him get off the airplane.
Oh,
I
okay.
think this is somebody sent me.
Yeah,
And look at this. Isn't this Roosevelt High School?
that appears to be Roosevelt
Yep.
High School. I don't. You tell me, Mom. I don't know why.
Because you wanted to go
It was
there.
a long time ago.
You knew you would meet me there.
No, it is the state fairgrounds where I saw Sonny and Cher.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, they all look the same.
Yeah. Yeah, high school's
school,
all
the
pretty much all the Dwight Perkins job. I can almost spot a Dwight Perkins high school. Elaine has Sonny's autograph too.
I can beat that. I have Katie Couric's lip prints. Oh, yeah, never.
Yeah.
Not anymore. How do we lose
All right, yes, Octavio, keep on hitting that donate button because our love will not, in fact, pay the rent.
that? Oh, is it?
Stephanie J. Block has been hired to narrate Adam's New York Cemetery book. Yeah, that, I don't know, I never hear that the audiobook is coming out until it does. We saw Kinky Boots at the theater across from Roosevelt High School. That would be the Playhouse.
Who saw that?
Diane Ellis did.
Yeah. Our whole family has performed
Oh, we've all
in
been
that
in stuff at the
theater.
Playhouse, yeah.
Our entire family. All at once.
And Cassidy broke the ground for the children's theater,
That's
Yeah.
right.
which we've never set foot in.
I was there for the Iowa caucus. The caucus I went to was in the Playhouse. It's not recognizable from what it was. It's been all renovated since the early 90s.
I don't remember what year that was, but we truly were the family von
It's,
Seltzer.
93. 93.
93. Wow.
It was 93.
Who was your Aunt Marie?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and we stay right in the urban room of the Congress Hotel in Chicago.
Not that we would know.
Some more to Benny Goodman and his orchestra in here.
No, Susan, the whole family was in the best Christmas pageant ever. But
It would be better if we were all in kinky
that would be
boots.
a
That would
lot
have been a
better.
show.
Yeah.
That would have really attracted them. Maybe my family would have even come to that.
The whole family had big parts, except me.
Shouldn't talk about things like
There are no small parts, only small actors.
that. That's right.
But I can show you some guys with small parts.
I'm sorry to hear that. Your uncle,
Yeah.
Patricia Monroe, 70s and 80s. Well, all of our Roosevelt friends' families have been around in the area.
Catch your troubles by the toe. If it hollers, let it go. The Kathleen and Ronnie and Aiden have other stuff going on. But yeah. Oh, we've been making, people are out here hunting for balls, so I've been making jokes all day.
Balls jokes.
Yeah. There's this thing on Jekyll Island where they hide like plastic balls, and if you find one, you can trade it in for a fancy glass ball. And it brings a lot of people to the island and go digging around on the hopes of getting a free glass ball. Yeah. Like all these like parking lot cars from North Carolina. It's like North Carolina, well known for its high levels of lacking balls. Was that one of the balls?
So every year in January and February, the Jekyll Island Authority hides around 300 of these custom blown glass balls.
Blown.
They're all different colors. When you win one, you get to go in and pick off the rack which one you want.
No, it's numbered. You get
Oh,
the
they're
one
numbered?
they give
Oh,
you.
you get what they give you. We have, I don't know, 2 or 3 of them. Now that we found them, we take the easy route. We find one we like, we buy it.
But why did we buy that yellow one? 'Cause
But
it's
the
so
island,
lovely.
starting January 1st, is just crawling with people digging through every bush, looking in every tree, every corner, every
Digging in
crevice,
bushes for balls.
trying to find balls. When, Adam and I were right there, for God's sakes. How hard can it be?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want any of those people out of their houses.
Especially the people from
None of
North
those people that
Carolina.
I saw. None of the Texans either.
What was that story? Here I sit, just keep.
What was that one?
Here I sit, bum the flex, and just keep doing
You are now off the show. That has been canceled.
Okay, guys.
You guys are
I got a lot off.
Uh-oh, you're developing dance laugh.
Yeah, that's the line I got. I saw when Eli and I told him the joke. Did you hear John Bobbitt changed his name?
No.
Les Johnson.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure I saw that on a bathroom wall somewhere in remote Iowa when I was
Yeah.
a traveling salesman. Then there was the one things that stick with you. When I was in college at Drake University in Des Moines, I was in the bathroom once, and somebody had written on the stall wall with a big arrow pointing to the toilet paper, and it said Drake Diploma, take 1.
That's not your best work.
I know. I just thought it was. I like people who.
I
are witty.
apologize.
I like witty things. Here I sit, buns flexing. That's been with me for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years.
All right, well, this has gone off the rails. I think I better know when to quit. My parents did, in fact, raise me to know when to quit. So thanks, everybody, for joining me. We'll be back tomorrow morning for Find a Grave Friday at the usual time, 10 o'clock Central. Those of you just joining us, this is the post-show hangout. Went a little off the rails tonight, as these things do. I'm Adam from Mysterious Chicago, coming to you from my parents' house down in coastal Georgia tonight. I will see you all again tomorrow morning. Find a Grave Friday. Till then.